Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day to Last Resort Season 3 Episode 5, Last Chance for Honor. And y'all, we got a lot to discuss in this episode. Remember I told y'all last week I've been dying to do this episode. This is the episode we've all been waiting for. So let's get it going. So we pick up basically where we left off last week. Remember last week at that little breakfast, Patrick was trying to plant the seed in Guillermo's head about possibly taking like 50% of money of Kara's earnings because she's doing basically OnlyFans and stuff. And Shekinah came to the rescue and tried to step in and saying that he shouldn't say that, he shouldn't do that. Shekinah cannot stand Patrick. And Patrick's point of this is just that a lot of the relationships here, like he feels like a lot of the women on the show can be like basically can be bought by love. Basically, you have to pay me for me to love you, basically. And there's a difference between that and basically calling people hookers and, prostitutes and stuff and everything, because those are paying to be intimate. But Patrick made it clear that he wasn't saying like that. He said he's not calling them gold diggers or none of that. But he's just saying that basically what I've been saying with the 90 Dayers. Where's the love? Like, are we in this relationship, marriage, in their case, marriage for love, or are we in this for money, basically? And if you don't have any money, I'm going to do some crazy stuff until you give me the money I want. That's basically what Patrick is. The point that Patrick was just trying to make, that it's just not right, that he feels like it's not right, and Shekinah takes it the wrong way and stuff and everything and starts putting him down and stuff. Meanwhile, Sarper and Kara and Russ and Powell and Submit, they're still at Sarper's little boot lab workout or whatever, and they were talking about they're basically talking about the same thing, basically. And Sarper had opened up about his stripping past when he used to be a stripper. He told Kara that, I don't really care what you do in terms of your relationship, because at this point he was like, I don't care what Guillermo really thinks, but I do care about your son, basically, the children, which is how I feel too. Like, she has a son. No son wants to see like provocative pictures of their mom on the internet. Like, I would go crazy and stuff. So that was the point Sarper is trying to make. Now, Kara asked Sarper, like, well, like when you used to be a stripper, right? So like what happened with that? He said, yeah, he used to be a stripper and stuff and everything, but he said that if his father had threatened him and said, like, if you continue to do this, I will not honor you. I will not honor your awards and stuff and everything, basically disown. So Sarper's like, you know what, I respect my father and his wishes, so he stopped and stuff. Now, Shekinah had said this. One of the reasons why she said this later, why I married Sarper, because he was a stripper, because he had that confidence that he can do all that stuff out in front of people and everything. That's a little weird, but okay. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a Christian man. So, so some things I like, but some things, it's just, I don't feel, from my own personal beliefs and stuff, everyone's entitled to what they believe and what they want. Just my personal belief, that's just not godly in my opinion. You can feel free to disagree. None of us are perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Sarper's not perfect. Kara's not perfect. Guillermo's not perfect. Patrick's not perfect. Thais is not perfect. But, certain things I just, think I'm, just a tad bit above that, just trying to find other ways and stuff. I mean, that's just my opinion. Not putting people down who do that and stuff and everything. But, that's just not my cup of tea. So anyway, they do all of that and stuff and everything. And now here comes the fun part. The couples do not have therapy this day, so everybody's basically now going to go out for a night of town, basically. Everybody's going to the club, and they're going to be in two separate vans. And one of the vans, it was Patrick and Thais, Jenny and Submit, and Rebecca and Ziad. And then in the other van was Sarper and Shekinah, Kara and Guillermo, and I think Russ and Powell, I think, and stuff. So anyway, so everybody's in the van and stuff, heading to the club. Submit. Submit. You know, Submit is just having the time of his life. He's out of India. He's trying to party. He don't get to see that many 90 days that often, and stuff. So he's just having a ball. But Submit snitches and tells Rebecca that, oh yeah, we did like boot lap with Sarper today. Oh, and also like after they did the boot laugh, Powell showed off her wrestling moves to everybody, and she showed off her wrestling moves to Submit. He was just like, I love pro wrestling and everything. He told Powell, like, look, I had an animal last night, so but you're a little bit more ferocious. So Powell showed off her wrestling moves to him, Kara, Sarper, and to her husband and stuff. It was she's pretty good. But in the car ride, Submit spills the beans and told Rebecca, yeah, so Sarper made a joke about you. He said that, yeah, you've been married 4 times, you're aggressive, you like buried your 4 husbands basically and everything. And now Rebecca is fuming. She is fuming. Now Sarper was just joking, and I'll talk more about that later. Sarper was just joking, but Rebecca, you already know how Rebecca is, especially the first 2 weeks. Rebecca is just like, you know what, he could talk all the crap about me, but I'm sure he won't say it to my face and everything. I'm now heated, I'm fuming, this, and that, and everything. So now we're going to have some drama tonight at the club because Rebecca is getting in her feelings, and we'll talk more about that too. So Rebecca and Zia, and so all the couples, they get to the club and everything. They get to the club and they start partying. Everything starts out really fun. Everybody's dancing, they're taking shots, and they're asking Jenny for permission for Submit and stuff. And she was just like, well, he can have one drink. Oh, poor Jenny. My heart just keeps breaking for Jenny every time we see her. And it's just getting, their little update's just getting worse. They did, Jenny and Submit did like a little video on Instagram the other day, and they're almost at the point of putting Jenny in a wheelchair, basically, and that makes me sad. But regardless, she don't want Submit drinking too much because he'll be all over the floor. So anyway, everybody's at the club and having a good time, taking shots and everything. Kara and Guillermo's having fun and everything, and Kara, this is her thing and stuff. Guillermo's having fun, so everybody was just like, and they started like dancing together and everything, and Kara and everybody just like, Kara, Guillermo, can you guys give a kiss? Can you guys get a kiss and stuff and everything? And they were about to kiss. They puckered up, but then Guillermo just kissed her on the hand. I was like, Guillermo, come on, man. You my dude, but come on, man. Come on, man. I know, but he's just not attracted. He's just not attracted to his wife anymore, and stuff and everything. And that's unfortunate because like they are still married and they're trying to work it out. But he is not attracted to Kara anymore with everything that she's doing and stuff. So he kissed her hand, but Kara actually liked the fact that he kissed her hand because she said that, it's the small things. We just needed a small little touch, and she's really hopeful that they can get back, they can work it out. Here's my opinion on that. Kara, and I will admit, Kara is more, it seems like Kara is more trying to work on this marriage and stuff and working this out with Guillermo. More than he is. I will admit that. However, I feel like in a non-drunk setting, that if they went, okay, like, no, we all know they ain't together, but if they did try to work it out, and Guillermo tried to initiate intimacy and try to be more like all up her tail like they used to be, she'll reject him. Because I remember when Happily Ever After he tried, and even at the beginning of this season, he had mentioned that he tried to initiate it. Like she wanted it the day before, and then the next day he wanted it, and she didn't want him, and she didn't want him. So I just feel like she can say that she just wants it back and everything, but she just wants it back just so, I don't know. It's one of those situations where I just feel like she just hates being rejected, and she don't really want Guillermo realistically either. She just wants to be the one to reject him and stuff. And sister still married. It's they could play this little tag game with it, but realistically, Kara just don't want to be dumped by him, and because she's just one of those people where she thinks she's all high and mighty and everything. She's good looking, this and everything, and she wants to be the one that does the heartbreak and not someone to heartbreak her. But like, what? You're dumping me? I'm this, and that. Not, she just gives me that kind of vibe and stuff and everything. So, I mean, that's just my opinion on that. Now, meanwhile, now we still got beef with with Rebecca and Sarper and everything. So Rebecca's sitting with Jenny and Shekinah. Well, no. She was sitting with Jenny and stuff and Pal, and she wanted to finally confront Sarper about this joke and stuff. She goes up and confronts Sarper. So they're telling me that you were talking about me and your little boot laugh and stuff. Like, what are you saying about me? So Sarper, he was actually pretty calm in this. He was just like, look, you're aggressive. You're harsh. I made a joke about you being like burying your men and whatever and everything. And she is fuming. She's like, I told you to shut up one day and you just hold it a grudge, this, and that. So Ziad finally steps up to the plate and he's like, look, bro, listen, Lee, you and I can joke around and stuff, but at the end of the day, this is still my wife. And I don't like you joking about my wife. And, Sarper was just like, you know what, bro, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. You're right. I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have did that, especially when she's not there. It was a joke. I'm sorry. Ziad's cool. Now, Rebecca's still fuming because he apologized to Ziad, but he didn't apologize to Rebecca. Okay, I get Rebecca's point on that one, because that's not right and stuff. So now now Sarper's telling the whole group about this, and Rebecca is still fuming and stuff. She's yelling at Ziad. So you're like, yeah, once again, he apologized to you, but he didn't apologize to me and stuff and everything. So now he's loud. He's telling the group behind her, like, is she standing behind him? And everyone's like, she can hear you, right? She's like, yes, I know. So Sarper turns around and turns to Rebecca and like, Rebecca, I'm sorry. Please forget me. It was a joke. You weren't there I would have told you to your face. You weren't there to defend yourself. I'm sorry and everything. And she just gave him this look. She was just like, she had a drink in her hand and she was just like, cheers. She tried so hard not to smile in that moment. I was cracking up. She was trying so hard not to smile, and she was just like, cheers. Now, on Between the Sheets, she said, now this is how crazy Rebecca is. On Between the Sheets, Rebecca said, you know what? I'm actually even more annoyed that he apologized, because she was like, I wanted to throw my drink at him. I wanted to cuss him out and rip him a new one, and he freaking apologized. Come on, so I had no choice but to take it, because I'm here to work on my marriage, and I'm here for Ziad, not Sarper, and everything. But it won't be long again before he pisses me off and stuff. So I'm just like, Rebecca, just take the apology and shut up. Like, just calm down, like, for real. And then after that little drama, then everybody starts going back to partying again. Everybody's once again having a good time. Russ and Powell, I don't know, like, they took like shots off of her boobs and stuff, and they're like boob shots and stuff. And then I guess like Guillermo was like looking, and Powell was just like, what? Like, I feel like he's staring at my boobs and stuff. I'm like, and Russ was like, well, can you blame him? They are out tonight. And stuff. So I mean, that was just a whatever. But yeah, everybody goes back to partying and stuff. Zia gets out these like bongos and starts playing the bongos, and Rebecca did not know about that Zia could play the bongos and stuff. So she was all impressed. Oh, this is something new I learned about my husband. He's playing the bongos and everything. And oh, I'm so impressed and so excited. Yeah. So he's doing that. Then Sarper gets up on on the table and just starts dancing, doing one of his like little like stripper club type dances and stuff. And he's dancing. Zia's playing the bongos for him and everything, just all excited. And once again, Rebecca gets all jealous and everything. She was like, F you, Sarper. She goes to the bathroom, just started crying. She's like, I cannot stand Sarper. Zia was having his moment, and then Sarper just had to steal it from him. I'm like, Zia ain't caring nothing about that. And all between the sheets, everybody's just like, Rebecca, we love you, but come on, there's other problems going on in the world. Like, Sarper's not intentionally trying to steal Zia's joy. He's just doing his thing. You guys are at a club and partying. Like, just relax. So Rebecca comes back out. She's still in the mood, and she's just like, oh, come on. Like, I'm not worried about it. He apologized. We apologize. It's over. This isn't that. So they left off with that. Now we head over to the fun part, where I have a lot of opinions for. So, hold on a sec. So here's how this all started. Patrick had seen Sarper, like Jenny and Shekinah were just sitting down the whole time and talking and everything. And finally, Patrick came over and talked to Sarper. He was like, hey, what's up, man? Yo, I wish I was at your boot laugh, man. I heard you were talking crap on Rebecca and everything, this and that, and everything. Like, no. And then Shekinah was just like, no, we're not doing this. He apologized. He's already had a rough night for it. Leave him alone with that. Okay, I'll give her that. I'll give Shekinah that one. Yes, like, we don't need to rehash any drama that we just like squashed. So then it just turned into that whole discussion again between like Patrick and Shekinah, basically. So Patrick told Sarper that, man, your wife hates me. And he was like, why you hate? And she asked him, why do you hate him? She was just like, I hate the way you think and stuff, and Sarper asked Patrick, like, did you call the girls like hookers and stuff? Like, no, I mean, but he said money is a big perimeter and stuff and everything. Shekinah was just like, no offense, but you have a poor man's mentality, basically, and everything. And Kara came over and told on Patrick. She was just like, you know what Patrick said to Guillermo today? And it was about the money and stuff and everything. So they're going back and forth with that. And Patrick is still trying to like defend himself and defend Guillermo about the whole situation. And at this point now, just let it go, really. So they're arguing over that. Now Thais is just like, is just tired of it. So Thais just steps in and she's like Shekinah, you are picking on him. I can see it. You're picking on him. And she was just like, no, you need to get your husband and stuff and everything. And Shekinah put her finger up in Thais's face and stuff and everything. She's like, get your husband. And Thais was trying to say, look, and they're trying to talk and everything. And you're being mean and you're being aggressive and stuff. And she's like, Shekinah told Thais, shut up, get out of my face and stuff. And then now Thais goes crazy. She yells, shut your mouth and stuff and everything. And like, I'm hearing glasses being thrown. Like Thais is like lunging out there like, shut your mouth and everything. She's like, get this bee out of my face and everything. Like, she's like, you don't talk to me like that. Yeah. So everybody's starting to hold Thais back and everything and stuff. And then there's still words being exchanged. And then here comes the infamous comment. Shekinah yells out to Thais, "Go back to your country. You suck." And everybody was just like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 Shekinah, no, you don't say that. You don't say go back to your country. No, 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 no way, and everything." And Thais was like, "Go back to your country," and stuff. Now, everybody listen up. The season 3 of The Last Resort is filmed in a neutral country for everybody. Everybody who's on Last Resort is not from the UK. So everybody saying go back to your country, it's kind of one in that moment kind of crazy and stuff and everything. Now, here's my opinion on this. I feel like both Thais and Shekinah were wrong in this moment. I'm not condoning Thais' behavior now, because we all know what happened with Thais even after the fact, just a month ago. Remember, Thais was arrested. She had a situation with Patrick when she found out about the divorce before she was going to Brazil. She was arrested. The charges were dropped. She didn't have to spend no jail time. Even if she was in a different state, she wouldn't even gone to jail, because Patrick didn't even want her arrested. He just wanted the police to come over to talk to them and calm them down and stuff. But by law, they had to arrest her. I saw the body cam footage. So Shekinah took to social media and says, "When I say go back to your country, I just meant that go back. I need her to get far away from me as possible and go back to where that behavior is accepted." No excuse. That's BS. And here's why. Now, I understand in that moment that, Shekinah's right. She felt, basically feared. Like, she felt like physically threatened by Thais in that moment. She's absolutely right in that moment. But saying go back to your country and stuff, that just adds more fuel to the fire, because one, everybody was like, "Well, you're married to an immigrant, your daughter's Hispanic, like, how you gonna say that?" and stuff and everything. And I get it was the heat of the moment. A lot of people say things in the heat of the moment that they don't really mean. But there's so many other things you could have said in that moment. You could have just said, "Get out of my face," or "There's going to be more problems and stuff. Like, do not come anywhere near me. Like, stay. I'm trying to be respectful. You didn't have to come at me like that. Like, if you come at me again, like, there's going to be problems and stuff." You could have said any other thing, but you said go back to your country. Again, we're not condoning Thais' behavior. On Between the Sheets, Thais even admitted that she was wrong in that moment. What she was. She was like, we were fighting with each other. You put your finger in my face first. So, you started coming at me. So then I came at you back, maybe a little harder. And then we went back and forth, and then you said that. And, all the foreigners are like really were offended by Shekinah's comment on that, because, I'm sorry, again, I don't want to be political right now, but everybody knows, like, right now here in America, we have really strict immigration policies in place right now. We have strict immigration laws right now. And a lot of, and all these people on 90 Day, they did come here legally and stuff. But, seeing the stuff that's going on in the country and then hearing that, that's a major trigger for them. Even though they're not in danger of being like victims of that. Well, hopefully not to my knowledge and stuff and everything. But when they see other people going through like the worst parts of it, like it's really triggering for them, and it's really, that really gets to them and stuff. So like everybody's just like, whoa. Now Kara even told Thais, like, "Look, I was trying to hear both sides. I was hearing your side. I was hearing her. I was trying to hear both sides, her side, your side, and everything. But when she said go back to your country, I'm like, like you don't say that." Also, on Between the Sheets, Jenny said that Shekinah should have not said that, because Sumit's mom always had told Jenny that. And so yeah. So now I understand the frustration, because this has been a war ever since the season started between Thais, Kara, Pau versus Shekinah about this whole situation and stuff. Now, Shekinah's mad because, okay, everybody's coming at her for saying that, but why isn't nobody coming at her, Thais for attacking her and stuff? And so Shekinah and Sarper, they go out, like, they go out. Even Sarper was just like, really Shekinah, but okay, come on, let's just go. And all the girls were yelling bye, and in the heat of the moment, Shekinah was like, I would have beat her effing A and stuff and everything. And Thais saw that. She's like, okay, come on, let's go. Like, I'm going to show you who's the real B and stuff and everything. But here's my thing with that. Again, heat of the moment, Shekinah. But if you really you really had the chance, if you really wanted to fight Thais back, you could have. You could have. You could have fought her. You could have stepped up when Thais did that to you. Again, Thais was wrong. The react the way she did and stuff. She could have just like, you need to quit. You need to quit picking on my husband, and or else we're gonna have some problems. Like you're supposed to use your words. You don't have to get physical, but you need to quit picking on my husband. We're here for a reason. We got our problems, but you don't need to. You don't want nobody to talk about your husband. You need to quit picking on my husband. Thais should have did a better job with that 1,000%. But Shekinah is just a lot of talk and all bark and stuff. So, they felt like on Between the Sheets that if she really wanted to retaliate, she could have. And everybody's just frustrated that she wants to do all that talking and then run away. You could dish it, but you can't take it. So Sarper and Shekinah go out, and Guillermo, Guillermo, I don't know. He run Guillermo. He finds out what happened. He runs outside to confront Shekinah, and he was just like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what happened?" And Shekinah's like, "Oh no, we're not having people come out here to figure out what happened." And he was like, I heard that you said to go back to your country and stuff and everything. And she was like, yeah, well, Patrick needs to get his wife and everything. And she was like, I don't give a crap. And Guillermo was like, I don't give a crap. That's not right. And now all of a sudden, Sarper's all mad at Guillermo now and everything, and starts like, who are you then? And Guillermo's like, I'm Guillermo. And it starts going after him. Like, his eyes got really big, and he just started going after Guillermo and like pushed him and stuff and everything and stuff. Now, everybody was just like, Guillermo, why did you have to go out there like in that moment and stuff and everything and stuff? Because they're already hostile as it is and stuff. So like, why did you have to like go out just to make it worse? So I don't agree with how Sarper reacted, but I see why, because that it wasn't the time in that moment. It just wasn't the time for that, because I was wondering when I saw that preview, like, what did Guillermo do? Like why would Sarper go out there with Guillermo? But and again, I'm not saying it's right that Sarper just went after him that way, because it had nothing to really do with Sarper anyway. He was like, Guillermo was talking to with Shekinah and stuff. So but I think finally Shekinah is probably happy that Sarper finally defended her. But I do think that judging by the previews of next week, I do think that Sarper is kind of annoyed with Shekinah, like with her mouth and her behavior and everything. And he's trying to like work with her only because that's his wife and everything. So. But yeah, but Guillermo, I mean, but again, I get it though. I get it. He was just trying to get some information about it and stuff, because again, that's for the immigrants, for the foreigners on the show, that is a very sensitive thing. Like, it's small, but even for me as an African American, who we have to still go through people saying a lot of hateful things and stuff, and like even a lot of slurs, a lot of hateful things and stuff that we still have to go through. Stuff like that is sensitive. So I really felt for them. I felt for the foreigners when they said go back to your country. Once again, not condoning Thais's behavior and stuff. Like, I don't condone violence at all. Like, violence is never the answer, and I don't think nobody should be getting violent. So Thais was 100% wrong. She's got some problems that she needs to work out and stuff and everything, clearly, i.e. her arrest and stuff and everything. But I don't know, like, everybody was just wrong in this moment, in my opinion. Everybody was wrong. and it was really sad to see. It was really sad to see. Again, I see why like Shekinah is upset and everything, because oh no, everybody's just mad about what I said, but nobody's mad about her coming at me and stuff and everything. Okay, fair enough, but Shekinah, you do have a big mouth. You have a big mouth, and Kara said that on Kara defended Patrick on Between the Sheets when Shekinah told Patrick that he has a poor man's mentality. She was like, you know, Patrick actually doesn't have that. He really works hard and does what he and is providing for his family. If he was a bum, that would be one thing, but he's not a bum. So Shekinah really doesn't know how to do her words and stuff. So to say, go back to your country, and then come back and say, oh, I was just saying that because to get her out of my face, and go back to where that's accepted. Like I said, you could have said any other thing, like get out of my face, stay far away from me. I'll get a restraining order on you. I will call the police. Something you could have said any of that stuff, but instead you decide to say, go back to your country. Now people are going to debate this and say, oh well, I get what she meant. I do get what she meant when she said go back to your country. Some would say, no, she shouldn't have said that. I'm on the side, no, she shouldn't have said that and stuff. And again, not defended by Yeast either, but I don't know. It's just, everybody was wrong in that, in my opinion. So that's just that. But that's where we left off. We left off with Sarper launching at Guillermo. We'll pick up where we left off next week. And stuff and everything. And it looks like Kara and Guillermo are going to finish the party making out, actually. So, and then next week it looks like they're all going to go on like a little camping, hiking trip out in the cold and stuff. So, so yeah, they all could use that after the night they all just had. But anyway, guys, that is the end of my review. I told you that was a lot, and I couldn't wait to cover this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll be back on tomorrow to recap Little Singles. So be on the lookout for that. Anyway, love you guys. Bye-bye.